podcast. What were some of your challenges when you started in terms of just starting when, from the point you decided, hey, I want to open this business to actually launching or post-launch? What were some challenges? What were some surprises around things that you thought would be easy were hard? And I've got one more follow-up question on that.
Okay. I would say the first thing is finding a way to differentiate yourself, because Southwest Florida, kind of what you were saying earlier, the East Coast is all about tourism, whereas the West Coast has a lot more ecotourism. So it was kind of, and some of the companies have been around for 15, 20 years. So finding a way to kind of get into that market and differentiate yourself a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
without breaking the bank, trying to go through Google ads and Facebook ads and everything else. So learning how to tweak all the advertising stuff that's out there, and then learning to network locally, um, was a big help with us. We got into a lot of small local events that were going on right before the pandemic started, and of course shut all those down. Um,
Right.
but getting involved anytime there was a raffle, or where somebody needed giveaways or whatever else, throw a gift certificate out there. It can't hurt to get your name out there, and it doesn't. At least in our business, that doesn't cost anything but time. We take somebody out on the water, even if they tell 5 people and we get 2 bookings out of those 5, it was essentially free advertising at that point. So it was kind of learning the different avenues that would pay off in the long run versus just spending a ton of money right out of the gate on Google ads or something like that. The other big thing that was a hurdle for us was just learning the various laws and restrictions for each place, and what kind of permits you had to have to launch out of this area. um, and even some of the so we're in Collier County. You have to have a permit, a commercial launch permit, to launch out at any of the parks. We went to
Mm-hmm.
launch out of one of the parks just to try it out and see if it was feasible for us to use, and found out, oh well, this is the one park that you're not allowed to actually launch out of commercially. So it was getting a contact in your local offices to find
Mm-hmm.
out what the nuances are, so that you don't get tripped up with it. Because some of the tickets can get pretty large if you get caught operating in an area you're not supposed to. So
Sure.
that
And is
was
that
that was
typically,
there's not a handbook out there for it, unfortunately.
oh, interesting. And that's, I've heard that before from MST Adventures, who also started just within a last, I believe, 4 or 5 years, that getting permits was one of the biggest challenges. And is that typically through the Forest Service that you guys have to manage, or what? If we're kayaking, what are the different, I
It,
guess, bodies of authority out there?
so a lot of it depends on where you are. So luckily, we have Collier County has a ton of various launch points, so we just have to get the one through them. But now we were looking at a spot called the East River, which happens to be within a preserve.
Hmm.
And so to go through them, you have to actually fill out 100-page application. You have to open a secondary bank account. They get a portion of proceeds from anything that goes, any tour that launches out of there. And so that was where you've got to really be careful when you get into state and national parks or state preserves. Just be
Okay,
making sure to do your due diligence beforehand, because the fines will break you.
got it. That's such a good call out. So just a little bit of that work up front will save you, sounds like, tons of headache, and financially too, the fines and
Absolutely.
not getting off guard. So just partnering with the right organizations. You made
Yep.
such a great point about marketing, and I would love your little bit of your feedback on like what were some of those channels that you can quantify that did work. I love what you do. What you're doing is, instead of putting a bunch of money into Google and Facebook ads, you're keeping that money in the economy going locally. It sounds like you're collaborating with other local businesses.
Yep.
Uh, what were some of the ways that you do that? And are you tracking some of those? Are you creating like referral links in Fair Harbor and giving those to those other partners, or is it more just referral word of mouth?
So starting out, we were doing referral word of mouth. Um, and so, for instance, there's a young lady. She started a company down here called Sip Sip Shop Socialize,
Hmm.
and she'll set up various events throughout. And so we've got a food truck park here. She did a big event there, so we went out and had a table, and we set up a beer pong table so people could win free tours, and then you're able to network, number one, with some of the other small businesses, and you're helping her get her business off the ground. But then
Yeah.
people come through there at a time into the food truck park. We were starting to work with the Southwest Florida concierge
Hmm.
group, and we were going to do referral links through Fair Harbor with them. But unfortunately, they had to let a ton of their concierges go when the pandemic hit.
Sure.
But the referral links is a great tool to utilize because it incentivizes people to get your name out there, and
Yeah.
so I recommend that 100%. Especially
Okay.
because Fair Harbor does most of the work for you. You know, like
Yeah.
you just put it in there, but people are much more likely to remember you if they're going to get something back out of it. And that's just the way we are as humans. You know, if we've got some incentive to remember you, we're going to.
Yeah.
So I definitely recommend using that. Now, Facebook ads, I have found that using the boost post function is
Hmm.
actually much more lucrative than creating an ad campaign.
Okay.
Because I know even me personally, I'm skeptical of a lot of the ads that come up on there. You read the comments and people will talk about how they paid for the item, they never got it. They so the ads are kind of I would recommend staying away from them, but put money into boosting the post because it
Okay.
goes out to a target audience and they see it as the Facebook post, not just another ad that somebody's put on there.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, the mindset mindset changes a bit because you're reading it as a post that's and not an ad, and you're more likely to trust it. It seems like.
Right,
Okay,
right.
that's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. And the referral network is, I think, something we're going to try more of too, because we want to create. I think it also creates good collaborations with other businesses, and we love giving out uh, referrals because we want people to be successful and all grow together. So I think that's what you're trying to go for, is even if you give a commission out, it's still worth it because everyone's growing together. It's not, you want to thank them for it, so it just makes sense.
Right. Absolutely.
So what's the secret to your 5-star review success? Like, what's the process that you follow for guide training or gear preparation that's leading to this? I think that's the last question I'll leave you with.
Um, so the first thing, we like to keep our tour groups small, so it makes a really personalized experience. Because I know I've gone out personally on kayak tours. Like I did one in San Diego, and there was about
Mhm.
30 of us that went out. So if there was any wildlife, it was scared away by the time the people at the back got up to it. Um, and there's a lot of mass chaos going on. So we like to keep the group
Mhm.
small, and usually we'll even try to keep it to if it's a family of four, we'll take just that family of four. Or even if it's just a husband and wife that want to go out, we'll take just them rather than trying to add a bunch of people in. Um,
Mhm.
because that way you truly get to experience it. You're not just going out and just paddling around and you don't get to see anything because everybody's scared it away. Um, but it does give you a chance to develop that relationship with the customers, and that's been one of the driving forces for us. Is we've built a lot of repeat clientele. So anytime family comes to visit, they bring them back out. But the big thing is making sure to ask everybody because
Right.
people don't realize how important that is. And so when at the end of the tour, just let them know how important it is, especially as a small business, that so much business is driven through those reviews. I mean,
Mhm.
everybody looks at Google, and if you've got a 2-star review or a 2-star rating on there, you're going to get passed over every single time.
Right.
Um, and so that's been the biggest thing is just being open and honest. Say, if you enjoyed your time, please take a moment to go on. And then, I send out when we send out the pictures or anything, it's all in the email with
Yeah.
direct links. So it even saves a step of them having to go in and do the work themselves. They just click directly on the link, go plug in the review, and then it's done.
That's a great call out. We do have to make it easy for the customer to take that action, because you're just increasing your likelihood of, what you can control is help yourself, make it easy for them.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you've been really humble about all the amazing work that you've done on the back end and how amazing your tours are, which is probably most of the success. And none of that comes without it. So we're super excited to come out and meet you and take one of your wildlife tours when we're out in Florida. Right now, you can tell we're out west, so we're in Sedona, Arizona. But I'm from Georgia, and we can't wait to come visit ourselves and send some business your way. And hopefully, this is just the start of a long-term relationship where we can continue to grow together.
Yeah, yeah, I look forward to it. I love what you guys are doing. So I hope we can work together in the future.